What's going on, man, like the Shababs? Hope you had a nice weekend. Obviously, if you're a Man United fan, probably didn't have a nice weekend. Anyway, so today we're going to be talking about three things. We're going to start off with some light, more joyful news. We're going to be talking about the UEFA Nations League that happened last week and a bit of a Champions League preview for the next 2 days. Obviously, before I go on, we'd like to say sorry. We weren't very consistent last week in doing our daily show. I was sick, shit happens. What can we do? I am not Superman. I am not Robin. I am not Batman. You know how it goes. Powerpuff Girls forever. Also, second piece of news, we're going to be talking about Jordan dismantling a treaty with Israel. And third, we're going to be talking again about Jamal Khashoggi case. As you know, this is the biggest story in the world right now. Every day there's been new updates. It's actually an update that just came in 5 minutes ago. So we're going to be talking about that and putting some perspective into that story, just as we did before. Just doing this show by myself, me and my 1.5 props. Ahmed is very camera shy. Ahmed is our DOP. He doesn't really want to be seen on camera. In that spirit, I found my co-host for today, which is the best representation of Ahmed I could possibly find. As you see, this chap is very, very expressive. He has his hands up because he's surrendered. He surrendered to the world of bullshit news. Smiling chap. Say hi. We love you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment on our channel, IST. And like we say, subscribe. We insist. Who made that bar up? What a genius. Shout out to Kodak Black and Travis Scott for this ZC freestyle that's gone absolutely viral. Every man's jumping on it. The one we just played actually is Mist, so he's a big rapper in the UK, MOBA Awards things, you know what I'm saying? For the first news of the day, there's a lot of chat about this UEFA Nations League, so that's why I want to address it. The international break is known to be the most daunting thing for football fans around the world, watching Champions League, etc. My opinion is, first of all, I'm a big fan of international football, so I kind of like it. And to be honest, it's much better than watching Germany bang Faroe Islands. You get to watch them get banged by France, get banged by Holland. What I'm trying to say is elite teams playing each other during the international break is good. It's good for international football, number one, to become better. Also for chances for young players to prove themselves in their international teams. Also better entertainment. Like last weekend, Egypt played Swaziland. Who gives a shit, even if Mohamed Salah is playing or not? But the point is that there's been some good action. And actually the two best games that I marked out of there were England versus Spain. For all this criticism that goes on England, even when they reach the semi-final, who did they really play? Who did they really play? Absolutely smashed Spain. Spain, who has an incredible record, obviously, in international games. They're a very good team. They've been thrashing everyone they've played. They got banged 3-0 down at halftime. And I just want to say that the front three, man, Rashford, Kane, and Sterling, it's ridiculous. That is the future of football right there, man. I'm serious. Like, these guys, they're ballers. And Rashford doesn't get a lot of credit for his Manchester United, but I think he's used differently in Man United. I think it's more difficult for him to shine in Man United. All of these young English players like Loftus-Cheek and other guys as well that are sitting benched on these top 5 Premier League teams, they should do what Jadon Sancho did. They should go outside and prove themselves. Go play in the French League, go play in the Bundesliga, go play in Italy. Prove yourself and then come back. And also, Netherlands absolutely smashed Germany 3-0, which is basically record victory for the team. Obviously, Holland didn't make it to the World Cup, didn't make it to the Euros. They had a massive crisis going on in their football, but they look like they're making their comeback. We've got guys like Wijnaldum. Do you see that man dropped a shoulder, went in, scored? Holland took out for them the Oranje. And Champions League preview, 2 games to look out for. We've got Man United playing Juventus, so it's going to be big. Cristiano Ronaldo coming back to Old Trafford. It'll be very interesting to see what happens there. And also second game, Barcelona versus Inter. Obviously, it's very nice to see Inter come back to the European stage. It'll be a very interesting game to see them getting banged, probably by Barcelona, but you never know. Football is football, and 90 minutes will prove who the best team is. And now, for the second news of the day. So the second piece of news is coming out of Jordan. Basically, King Abdullah has come out and said he will terminate a treaty that's signed with Israel in 1994. Now, the specific part of this treaty that he's talking about is 2 pieces of land, one known as Al-Ghumar and the other one known as Al-Baqura, which you can see here, which are on sort of opposite ends of the borders between Jordan and Israel. And under this treaty, these 2 pieces of land were given to private Israeli farmers who can sit and use them for their agricultural needs. The lease ends on October 25th. Part of the deal is that Jordan has to give a 12-month termination notice for this clause to be completely taken away. So this news was very much welcomed by activists and civil society and so on. But what's important here is to put a bit of context on this deal. First of all, so you know, Jordan is one of 2 Arab countries that actually has signed a peace treaty with Israel. And this has tarnished the legacy of King Abdullah's family, so it's either his father and his grandfather. Jordan was administering the West Bank and was supposed to control also the Muslim part of Eastern Jerusalem. But unfortunately, throughout the decades and as this conflict has escalated, they have lost their weight in in that land. They've taken very many Palestinian refugees, so around half or even maybe more of Jordan's population are actually Palestinian refugees. And that also plays a big role in this story because this decision will essentially make him more popular in that part of the population and in general also the native population. So there was thousands of Jordanians who had taken to the streets in June of this year to protest price increases and income tax reform bill and official corruption. This is also a very clever political move to sort of soothe any opposition mounting against the king, any internal problems, by diverting attention to this pan-Arab or nationalist or pro-Palestinian stance that he's taking by annulling this treaty. Now, Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, has come out and he said that we will be entering negotiations. So he's sort of not accepted that this will be cancelled completely. He said we will enter negotiations again with our Jordanian neighbors with regards to this land. And it seems that many opposition MPs had actually petitioned King Abdullah before he made this decision. It is an interesting turn of events because usually Jordan is seen to take a very soft stance against Israel. Of course, being its neighbor and having to deal with Israel constantly is a bit difficult. Many Gulf nations, as well as Egypt, have been criticized heavily for their pro-Israeli stance and not standing up for the Palestinian cause as much as they could. And you know, this will be a story in development, and there's going to be a lot of these situations where many Arab countries do controversial things vis-a-vis Israel that we'll be talking about throughout the upcoming days and weeks. So for the third story of the day, we have the Khashoggi case. Of course, we've covered it before. You've seen it with our special correspondent, Mohammed Hassan, who brought us sort of day-to-day the details of what's going on. But now there's been some new developments. So during the weekend, Saudi Arabia finally admitted that it did sort of commit the murder of the journalist. However, they're trying to push the blame onto rogue intelligence officers and so on. And they're also saying that what actually happened in the embassy was a fist fight gone wrong. What they're doing is they're deflecting from their own crown prince, Mohammed bin Salman. Now, Mohammed bin Salman, if you don't know, is the guy behind the war in Yemen, who started the beef with Qatar, splitting the Arab world into two. He's the guy who has led the rise of executions in Saudi Arabia. He's the guy who told the world, I will be a reformer. Oh, amazing. Look at this Vision 2030. I'm going to liberalize the economy. I'm bringing bikinis to Saudi Arabia, while he was imprisoning female rights activists. And, you know, this is absolute bullshit, you know. Everybody who knows about the Middle East saw this coming. Many stories hadn't brought to light Mohammed bin Salman in this negative way, but now the death of this journalist has. And this really might be the last straw. This, for me, is really the peak of the counter-revolution. Imagine CNN just broke an update saying they will use the body double. So they used the body double showing this Jamal Khashoggi coming out of the embassy. Imagine. And then they say, oh, it was a fist fight. This wasn't of course it was premeditated. 15-man hit squad. You don't send 15 people to talk to someone. Imagine you had a problem with somebody in your neighborhood. You send 15 people to talk to him. 15 people. Are you serious? Where is his body? Still, nobody knows where is his body. Dismembered. I even saw somebody posted a photo of the Saudi Arabian flag, which says La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. So, you know, there's only one God and Muhammad is his messenger. But underneath, rather than leaving the sword, they took out the sword and put a saw. Which, I get it, right? It can be disrespectful, but in the same time, it's a serious point. What has Saudi Arabia really done positive for the Arab world, for Islam in this world? What have they done? Honestly, you know what I mean? This is not a Westerner looking at it. I'm an Arab, I'm a Muslim, you know, what have they done? How long will we take this treatment from Saudi Arabia, not only to Jamal Khashoggi, but to all of us, you know, to everyone who wants to have a voice? Let's see if the United States will do anything about MBS. Will they hold them accountable? Or will they just continue covering up for their best friend and ally? And by the way, MBS stands for More Bullshit, Saudi Arabia. Because that's exactly what he does, just feeding us absolute bullshit. And now, for the video of the day. Now, the video of the day is actually coming from the NBA, the National Basketball Association from the United States. Basically, everyone was looking forward to the Lakers, LeBron's homecoming in the Lakers. So, Lakers had their first game, they lost against the Trail Blazers, but they were supposed to play at home against the Houston Rockets. But a massive brawl broke out. Now, check out this footage, check it out.
No. They say the foul occurred before the gather. It mattered. It's hot now. Paul punches a throw. Paul and Rondo throwing punches. Ingram comes in. He's throwing punches.
Like you see, first of all, Ingram gets in it with Harden. Harden goes, lays up. Maybe he was pissed off, thinks he's be traveling or something, pushes him. Then Paul and Rondo go at it, which, by the way, this isn't just coming out of the blue. I heard Paul Pierce talking on an American news channel. He was an ex-NBA player, and he said that Rondo and Paul always had problems together, so they didn't like each other. Anyway, Chris Paul keeps saying that Rondo spat on him. There isn't any video footage of that, but they go at it. He puts his finger in his face, and Rondo just, bam, connects. And then Ingram comes in as well and smacks Paul. I think, you know, all this UFC in the media and so on, bro. her. It's got people smacking. It's been a long while since I've seen people connect on people's faces in the NBA. It was horrendous. Since then, LeBron tried to hold back Paul. And you know, I get it, right? LeBron is friends with Chris Paul and he's trying to be the peacemaker and so on. But in reality, you know, there's nothing worse in a fight than when you're fighting and someone holding you back and you're just getting punched. So I don't know if he helped him out there, but he definitely diffused the tension. There should be some suspensions, I think, to the players involved. And wait and see really what happens with the Lakers this year, man. Will LeBron be able to do what he did with the Cleveland Cavaliers? Will they bring someone else in to help him do that? Wait and see. You know what I mean? Sometimes you turn on ist, subscribe, we insist, you know what I mean? So Emre, what did you think?
I don't know, fam. I don't know, I don't mind. I just want to edit this quick, fam. You got me? Yeah.
Oh, there goes Emre.